Is it possible for someone to age that much in 5 years? I cannot believe it's the same person, only 5 years apart.
One thing we will still be doing if we live to 80 is watching 10 Things I Hate About You.
This movie truly was so formative to my youth, and I'm not even saying that sarcastically. It came out when we were in middle school, and that soundtrack, I played it so much. Just a gem, a true gem.
It's from beginning to end. I don't know if you see it with fresh eyes today, if you're like, why is everybody mean?
I don't know, maybe I have blinders on because I loved this movie so much, but I felt like it held up personally.
Okay, before we get into the movie, can we talk about the fact that if you had asked me, did this come out in the 90s, I would have said, of course not. 1999.
The Y2K panic was at its peak when this came out.
Isn't that so weird? Like, I don't associate these things together at all. But yeah, no. That was the time. This wasn't for us. We were actually a little too young, I think, but it was just so good and so funny, and everybody was watching it.
In addition to 10 Things I Hate About You being an objectively great movie, this is part 2 of our Andrew Keegan retrospective.
Part 2. Woo! Woo! Part 2. And did I think this was a mere 5 years after Camp Nowhere? No, I did not.
Is it possible for someone to age that much in 5 years? I cannot believe it's the same person, only 5 years apart. Unreal.
What happened to my little cutie? Look at that mean mug. Look at that mean mug. What happened to my little pocket cutie?
Yeah. Exceptional villain, though, in this movie. Like, no notes.
Look, he's a great actor. I have no notes, but he was such a little cutie in Camp Nowhere with the leather jacket.
I know.
And the hair.
5 years. 5 years to get to. I can't. Like, my brain refuses to accept that that's the amount of time that occurred between these two movies.
5 short years to one of your favorite quotes from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Shit, Bianca, I'm shooting a nose spray ad tomorrow.
Perfection. The delivery is so good. I also love when he shows up at the Stratford house to take Bianca to the prom. The look on his face as he walks up to the door and he's like, it's perfect.
I'm the hottest guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we should note, we're going into this video assuming that you all have seen this movie. If you haven't, what are you even doing? So we're not really going to go into the plot or what happens or talk about that in any sort of chronological way. So obviously, spoilers. This movie came out, as we've established, in 1999. So if you haven't seen it, that's on you at this point, really.
Absolutely. We are going to talk about some of our favorite quotes. We'll try to kind of keep them in order, but who knows? Like, we have seen this movie so many times that once we started talking about it, we just started quoting to each other. And so that's what this is going to be. Okay, this is just like a fun quote fest about this awesome movie that we've all seen or are about to watch right now, right? Right? Go watch it.
Yeah, pause this, go watch the movie, but then come back and watch the rest of our video because we need views. And subscribers, but also we're very entertaining. I don't think you're supposed to
say that.
Cut that out. I mean, I say that half in jest. Like, we are genuinely talking about everything we talk about on this channel for the pure joy of it. As Violet said, we're gonna just start fangirling and deal with it.
Music drops. The beginning of it's not a quote, but it is a quote. The beginning of this movie with it's been 1 week since you looked at me, and you're just like, yeah. Like the girls in the Jeep. Yeah.
Yes. And then seamless transition into
I don't give a damn about a reputation. It's so good.
The way that I wanted to be Kat, but didn't have the balls to be Kat at that age, I just, like, role model, icon,
Oh my
feminist
gosh.
queen.
I was nowhere as cool as Kat, especially when I was like 12 and watching this. But I was heart eyes. As soon as I saw her, I was like,
And this transitions into another iconic quote.
The way you expressed your opinion to Bobby Ridgway. By the way, his testicle retrieval operation went quite well, in case you're interested.
I still maintain that he kicked himself in the balls.
All the God, just to have an ounce of Kat Stratford's confidence in middle school, my life would be so different now if I'd had just an ounce of that.
okay, all the different things she says, like when she and her best friend are walking around school and they see a prom poster and she rips it down and goes, who the hell would go to that antiquated mating ritual? And of course, our friend is like, me? Which is very real.
Yeah, her friend is probably a little bit more relatable in that moment. But again, Kat is the aspirational character.
In that moment, because her friend is in love with Shakespeare. So, like, that's its own...
Who among us did not have a delusional crush on a...
I was gonna say, like, horse girl, but, like, literary theater girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving that energy. The other thing that Kat says is,
Ugh, what is it, asshole day?
why aren't we all saying that all the time?
Because it usually is asshole day, let's be real.
It's, okay, every day feels like asshole day these days. Especially,
Evergreen statement.
we need some debate memes for next year for the election. What is it, asshole day?
Are we going to go to the same quote possibly? Because it's after she asks if it's asshole day. After destroying her nemesis, the car of her nemesis. Put that in the outtakes. She says,
Whoops.
and I think I learned about plausible deniability from this movie, and I have Kat Stratford to thank for that.
Everybody in it is amazing. She is trying to leave the record store. Joey asks, what is it? Joey, eat me, Donner, pulls up behind her and she's like, do you mind? And he's like, not at all. And she's like, And then
Just
the one I was
perfection.
going to cut to was her father going,
Katerina, make anyone cry today?
Sadly, no. But it's only 4:30.
and that's what you want, is a dad who also recognizes your power.
He sees her, for all of their differences and all of their disagreements. He sees her.
He's
Recognizes her.
overprotective, but he also knows that she could like take someone in a fight. It's an interesting balance for a dad, especially in a comedy where you like him and he's also ridiculous.
Yeah, and you don't really see until the end of the movie that that's actually a quality that he appreciates, because at least he knows she can stand up for herself and defend herself, even though occasionally that comes out in, physical assault type of ways, but
Okay.
at least she knows how to stand up for herself, which I think is something that he doesn't have the same confidence that Bianca can do that.
Please, I think I know what he's going to ask you. And I think I know the answer. No, it's always no.
Yeah, but by the end of the movie, we're all like, oh, yay, Bianca. But what I wanted to center on is, to me, the dad's best quote. So the dad is like an OBGYN delivery doctor. And he tells all these stories about what happens. Bianca and Chastity want to go to a party, and they're trying to explain it to her dad. And she says, Daddy, it's just a party.
And hell is just a sauna.
His hyperbole. He also says,
Kissing, huh? That's what you think happens? Got news for you. Kissing isn't what keeps me up to my elbows in placenta all day long.
gross. And maybe this movie had a skosh of like schadenfreude as well, because some of us maybe had slightly overprotective parents, but I was never made to wear a pregnancy
The belly. Wear the
prior to
belly.
going out.
I want you to wear the belly.
Daddy, no.
Not all night. Just around the living room for a minute so you can understand the full weight of your decisions.
Who knocked up your sister?
I love when he's like, wear the belly, and even Chastity is like, no. She knows.
She knows.
It's
come out before.
Okay, and then kind of very loosely connecting this to the party, the poor kid who is hosting this party, Bogey Lowenstein, is trying to host like a fancy party. You know those high schoolers who want to host a fancy get-together with like a couple people. It's quiet. It's like we're little adults, right? It's like the Finer Things Club in the office, but teenagers.
There is no paper, no plastic, and no work talk allowed. It's very exclusive.
And the doorbell rings, and he goes to answer, and he says,
Oh, must be Nigel with the brie.
also at the party, Andrew Keegan, that's what I'm gonna say about this scene, because he's posing for Bianca, because he got Bianca to the party. She's like, yes, we're at the party. And he is just standing there. I don't know if I can even like, just like posing for her to be like, which one is hotter? Which one looks better?
Yeah, he's a paper thin character in this movie, to be totally honest, but it works. He's textbook egocentric villain.
It's so funny, and it ties into the earlier scene. Earlier, I think, where he's showing his like headshots that he got.
Okay. Which one do you like better?
I think I like the white shirt better.
Yeah, it's more...
Pensive?
Damn, I was going for thoughtful.
Just the hot, popular idiot.
I mean,
No
he's like an
additional
early
character.
himbo, but like he's kind of mean. I think that's why he's like a proto himbo, because like he's still kind of, he's got like the bully side still, but he's like dumb and hot. When he is at the party and they're like fight, and he goes,
Fight! Ooh! Fight!
"Ooh, fight!" Like he puts his entire face into it.
Oh, and in contrast to Keegan's character, we have the two love interests. And I have to say, who among us did not have their sexual awakening at least partially influenced by Heath Ledger? in
Oh
this
my
movie?
God. And the hair, the curly hair, like the natural hair, and the...
Pick up on Friday, then.
Oh, right. Friday. Uh-huh.
Well, tonight I take you places you've never been before.
Like where? The 7-Eleven on Broadway? Do you even know my name, Screwboy?
I know a lot more than you think.
So attractive. Does not look like a high schooler.
No, he looks like he's 27.
He's a
at least.
man. You see him and you're like, that's a man. Yeah. And there is a difference, because you look at Joseph Gordon-Levitt at this age and you're like, not yet a man.
Wow. Is this what a bar looks like?
Yeah, he's believable as a high school student.
Absolutely.
But either way, looking at Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and Heath Ledger's character, no matter which one you're looking at, both of them ruined expectations of high school boys for me. Because as we've mentioned, we were slightly younger than, the demographic for this movie when we watched it. So it personally set my expectations far too high. Far too high.
Why are you doing this?
I told you may have a concussion.
You don't care if I never wake up.
Sure I do.
Why?
Well then, because then I'd have to start taking out girls who actually like me.
Like you could find one.
Oh, see that, there. Who needs affection when I have blind hatred?
Let me sit down for a while.
Okay.
This hot boy will buy you a guitar. No, he won't.
Oh, it won't. It's not just he buys you a guitar. I mean, we're jumping to the end, but like, it's not just that he buys you a guitar. It's that he buys you the guitar that you've had your eye on because you like want to start a band because you really love music and this is a thing you're like really into, and he appreciates that about you. And then he's sweet and it's a surprise, and then he makes a joke, and then he says, it's not every day you find a girl who will flash someone to get you out of detention.
Okay, that scene, the fact that she literally flashes the soccer coach, that is one part that did not hold up for me. I was like, please, they could have made this funny without her.
She is
literally
clearly
exposing
not
her
wearing a
breasts.
bra, which is the other part of like, you fully flashed your teacher.
And the fact that he didn't immediately send her to the principal's office, like that leads into another theme of this movie, which is being faculty doesn't necessarily make you a professional authority figure, because we have Kat's English teacher, who I do love, by the way.
He's great. He's really great.
Who openly hates his students because he has one of the best lines in the movie, which is,
Pipe down, Chachi.
Which is great, but is a reference that no one today will get, because it's a reference to a 70s show called Joni Loves Chachi, which was a spin-off of Happy Days. And Chachi is now that right-wing lunatic commentator, Scott Baio. But who
that
cares, 'cause
guy,
he sucks. That was Chachi. Anyway, he sucks.
Yeah, so we've never sounded older, but we're talking about 70s.
Did you know that before it was called TV Land, it was called Nick at Night? Nickelodeon at night.
Fast forward to like a few months from now, we're just gonna keep regressing further and further in history. We're gonna be talking about fucking I Love Lucy a few months down the road.
N-I-C-K-A-T, Nick at Night for me.
Better living through television.
Nick at Night is hit TV. Guaranteed.
But before we get off of the thread of unprofessional authority figures, we also have the guidance counselor, played by the iconic Allison Janney. And I know I've said the word iconic a lot, but this movie is iconic, and there's going to be a lot of iconic shit happening. So just
she is so horny.
She's openly writing her smut novel during work hours, which, hey, that is the anti-work queen that I think we all
How many
aspire
people
to.
have done that? Let's be real.
Right?
People are doing that right now. And that's great. I don't understand how the students know what she's writing.
Sight of Reginald stiffened. Judith! What's another word for engorged?
I'll look it up.
But hey, I mean, the school must be doing something right, because they all seem to have a really strong vocabulary. So learning is
That's
happening
because they're
somewhere.
all fucking loaded. This is like a rich school.
Yes.
Like, these kids aren't dressed like they are very wealthy, which is the secret. But they have money.
Well, and we know they have money because there is another very popular quote between Bianca and Chastity talking about the difference between like and love.
Yeah, but see, there's a difference between like and love. Because I like my Skechers, but I love my Prada backpack.
But I love my Skechers.
That's because you don't have a Prada backpack.
Oh.
But I wanted to tie that into the teacher we were talking about before, the English teacher. There's a really good scene, the same one as Pipe Down Chachi, where Kat and Joey are just like sniping at each other back and forth. And then Heath Ledger comes in late and he's like, what did I miss? And she goes,
The oppressive patriarchal values that dictate our education.
Listen, I don't want to overhype this movie as like as a perfect display of feminism. However, given that I was in middle school when I saw this, was this the first time I'd heard the word patriarchal? Probably.
100%. This was like mind blowing to me. I was like, what's that?
And we learn a little bit, even though this phrase is not used precisely, we learn about cultural appropriation a little bit from those two idiots in the class.
And Kat, I want to thank you for your point of view. I know how difficult it must be for you to overcome all those years of upper middle class suburban oppression. Must be tough. But the next time you storm the PTA, crusading for better lunch meat or whatever it is you white girls complain about, ask them why they can't buy a book written by a black man.
That's right, Mom.
Don't even get me started on you two.
It's just, I think we've mentioned this with things we've watched before, but it's those little touches that they didn't have to do that at all. They didn't have to spend the extra 2 seconds keeping that in or shooting it or writing it, but they did, and it's great. And it adds a tiny bit of another layer to the story of like rich kids falling in love. And then there's sillier.
This is where we get a couple of iconic things. One, we get Bianca launching an arrow into the
teacher
of the teacher, which
one, they have archery, which my high school, I was like, my high school's not gonna have archery. What? This is a fancy high school.
So this, yeah, it really does. It's giving you all the information you need to know that these people are loaded. But we also really get a good view of all of the seating when Heath Ledger does his iconic musical performance to win the heart of Kat while she's practicing soccer.
Just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
And if you didn't fall in love with him while watching the scene, then get your heart checked.
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Just so cute. Look at his face. We're going to insert clips of his face right now, and I want you to look at it. Look at it.
He's doing, no words.
And he at one point is getting chased by campus security, and he somehow ends up behind one of the security guards chasing him and taps him on the butt.
Yeah.
And first of all, I rewatching it, I don't fully understand the mechanics of how that happened and how the cop was so like, oh, what? But also, I think this is a theme that ties Camp Nowhere into 10 Things, in that no respect for cops / security / authority figures.
Authority figures. There's just no respect for authority figures.
Fumbling idiots.
I mean, they do get him and they send him to detention.
Which is where the aforementioned flashing happened.
In fairness, I'm not sure he actually did anything wrong, because he like paid off the band to get them to help, and he like maybe broke into the like audio broadcast room, but that's it, because
sorry that he got detention for being a stone cold fox. That was his only crime.
I mean, look, this is a very heteronormative episode so far, because we've really only talked about like the hotties. Everyone in this movie is hot.
Oh yeah,
they're all extremely attractive. Like
yes,
massive girl crush on Bianca and all her cute hair and the dresses and the cardigans and the butterfly clips. Get the fuck out. Get the little flippy hair.
The style was very aspirational. I personally like Kat's style more than Bianca's. I think when I watched this movie originally, with Bianca's prom dress, I was like, what is that? But rewatching it now, I'm like, I see it. I get it now.
The duality of women. And yes, they're both white, but I mean the fashion of like, Bianca goes for this like pink, sparkly 2-piece ball gown skirt, and it's like fun and young and like poppin'. And then Kat goes for this like gorgeous, sleek, like dark blue dress with her hair up, and it also amazing. Totally different vibes, but they both look so good.
inside of you there are two wolves. One is a cat and one is a Bianca. But really, I mean, it's like, I feel like there's always something to identify with in this movie, because sometimes you identify with Bianca, sometimes you identify with Kat.
Sometimes you identify with Chastity because her party look with that like little Adidas dress, I don't know, I just loved it. And like with the sneakers too.
Even though, like, character-wise, shitty friend. Fashion-wise,
yeah, she's terrible.
Yeah.
Fashion though, like she.
Yeah.
And then also the Kat's friend's Shakespeare prom dress. Okay, look, we're gonna do a separate thing about some of the looks because what's another Epic? Can we bring back Epic?
Sure.
Epic, which maybe later than this movie. Who knows anymore? All the trends are crashing into each other right now in 2023. Everything is trending.
What was once old is new again.
Exactly.
All this has happened before and all this will happen again.
And to tie a silly, funny, great quote into that, which I have often repeated.
I know you can be overwhelmed and you can be underwhelmed, but can you ever just be whelmed?
I think you can in Europe.
Genius.
Again, educational. We're learning about.
This is how we learned about Europe. That and the terrible French lessons.
Oh my God. Also, okay, let's talk about this for a second because Bianca needs French lessons, right? And this is how
Cameron.
JGL's character, yes, Cameron, this is how Cameron tries to sort of like get into spending time with her. And towards the like later part of the movie, she asks him in perfect French when he's going to ask her out. Now,
Excusez-moi, Cameron.
Laisse-toi te demander en question, Cameron. Comment demanderais-tu de sortir avec toi?
Okay, I only had one more quote.
Hit me with it.
Okay. I know this happens near the beginning of the movie, but it is still one of the funniest montages I've ever seen in any movie. And it is when Cameron is trying to find someone to go on a date with Kat so he can take out Bianca. And he is interviewing all these different guys from the school.
You be interested in dating Katarina Stratford?
Oh, I've never been that ripped.
Maybe if we were the last two people alive and there were no sheep. Are there sheep?
And then the guy after that is just screaming.
I remember my friends and I quoting that "Are there sheep" line ad nauseum.
Oh, you know what? You did have one last quote from Bianca, from Kat, if you want to end on her laying it down.
So there's a part at which Patrick is trying to get back in the good graces of Kat, and she's at a bookstore, and he's asking her about the feminine mystique, which again, as I'm saying, this is laying the foundation for some knowledge about feminist literature.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. I had to go look it up.
Yeah. So he says something about, getting her panties in a twist.
Well, because she's like, I want you to leave. What are you doing here?
And then he says, don't get your panties in a twist. And she says,
don't for 1 minute think that you had any effect whatsoever on my panties.
Then what did I have an effect on?
Other than my upchuck reflex, nothing.
And I think that's another reason that this is such an aspirational character, is because she's got that sharp tongue. Like, she is so quick with the retorts.
I know, she
and
fires back.
In middle school, I did not have the quick thinking skills or the vocabulary to be that witty in my comebacks. And I really I wanted it though. I was like, that is so cool.
I know, she's so smart and she's quick and she's just like ready. And you're like, yeah, I want to be someone whose default is that and not like, oh, or ew. Although ew is also a good response. Ew also would have been fine.
Yeah.
And that is our favorite quotes from 10 Things I Hate About You. I think we basically told the story of the movie through quotes. How do you feel about Andrew Keegan? Because this closes out our mini 2-part retrospective on peak Keegan.
Or are there other late 90s, early aughts heartthrobs whose career we should cover?
And a little mini retro, because this was, oh my gosh, like this must have been, even though it's 5 years, like 10 years of his career. If you think about like getting cast and filming and like doing PR and all the things, and what a time.
Watching the outtakes for 10 Things I Hate About You really makes it look like they were having an absolute fucking blast filming this, and
just like Camp
adorable.
Nowhere. I swear, like, we didn't pick these movies because they were like the only things we could think of with Andrew Keegan. No, we were specifically picking like the most fun, cozy, silly, like laugh along movies that also feature the amazing Andrew Keegan. Yeah, tell us what to talk about next.
I want
You to want me. Oh my God, when they're like zooming out and you're like, yeah. I want a band on my school roof.
What's normal? Those damn Dawson's River kids sleeping in each other's beds and whatnot?
Daddy, that is so not.
Got news for you. I'm down. I've got the 411, and you are not going out and getting jiggy with some boy. I don't care how dope his ride is.